Boo.
I just thought about this. I set up the TikTok on that screen, so everything they're watching is going to be delayed.
Oh.
So I might have to move my camera here in a minute, but let me start by
Mhm.
saying welcome to Murder Mystery Haunted History. I am BB3, and this
Mhm.
is Nettie with MelNetteLivingFreeZipCodeless. You can find her link in the description down below. If you like true crime, a little bit of paranormal, and from time to time, the history of both true crime and paranormal, please hit that subscribe button.
Mhm.
It does help to throw it out there in the algorithm and helps new people to find us. And if you're a returning subscriber, like most of the people over here in the chat, thank you so much. You
Yes.
really, you mean so much to us. And I know I say that every single week, and it's the truth. You keep us laughing, and
Mhm.
I enjoy having you guys here. I love our Sundays. I call it Sunday Fun Day, and I mean it. I absolutely love Sundays. So, with
And I
that
do too, as well. We get depressed when we can't do them, so we both look forward to having our Sunday fun day.
yeah, Nettie just put out a video. If you have not seen it, go check it out. It kind of explains why our Sundays were a little bit
Yeah.
lacking for a bit. We
Yeah.
stayed quiet about what Nettie was going through, but Nettie kind of came out and told her story now, what she was going through.
Mhm.
So if you haven't seen it, go check it out. Um, Nettie's been dealing with some stuff, and she was brave enough to share what she was going through. So go check that out. Link
Thank
in the
you.
description. And now let's jump over here and welcome everybody in. Also, if you are watching over here on the TikTok and you want to join in the live chat, you can find a link to where we're at on my page in that one place on the profile. We're not allowed to say it, but you can find it there.
Yeah.
All right. So let's welcome in Hitch Up and Toe. They're going to try to be here tonight, but they're drinking copious amounts of alcohol and enjoying life. And I told them just to continue enjoying life.
Yes.
And then we have Captain Jack Scrapper in the house. Hello and welcome. And then we have Uncle Lisa, who I was playing video games with earlier, and the monster made me sick. So I had to jump off. We have Linda Barker. Hello and welcome. Todd Johnston. Hello and welcome. Chrissy Mama. Hello, hello. Let me see. I don't want to miss anybody. Tommy Travels. Hello, hello. Good to see everybody. All right, let's jump into our story, which is Suburban Crimes We Can't
Yes.
Get Out of Our Heads.
11 of them.
11 of them. How rude to call me a monster, BB. Behave at once. You weren't the monster. Hold up. Uncle Lisa wasn't the monster. The monster is the video game. I also play video games on the channel from time to time, and I get motion sick and I suck at video gaming. So, like, that's the whole funny part to watch.
Yeah.
All right. Let's jump in. I'll let you go first, Nettie.
Okay. People often move to the suburbs for the scenery, quiet and safety, and for the peace of mind, knowing the kids will be okay running around the neighborhood. Unfortunately, this isn't always the case. Neighborhood disputes can turn ugly, sometimes even deadly. Stalkers or peeping toms can drive paranoia and a general unsafe feeling. Your neighbor of a decade could turn on their own family with no warning.
While suburb crime is perhaps a newer genre of true crime, it certainly is becoming one of the more popular ones. Is this because so many of us grew up in similar settings? And that perhaps it seems almost unreal that these incidents actually happened? Well, We'll let you be the judge of the surprise factor of these nearly inconceivable suburban crimes. That was a mouthful, and I don't know why.
Netflix The Watcher was based on a real New Jersey family who received menacing letters to their new home.
Multitasking, not my fine suit. All right. When you hear that a show is based on a true story, you might find yourself wondering how factual it is. In the case of The Watcher, how much did they make up about this horrifying stalker? This might be one of the rare instances where the true story is just as terrifying as the show's premise. The TV series was based on the real life The Watcher, letters received by the Broaddus family who had just bought their dream home in a wealthy neighborhood in Westfield, New Jersey in 2014. I don't know how many of you have actually seen this story, heard this story, know about this story, but this is one that terrifies the crap out of me because they never figured it out.
Wow.
They never figured out who was doing this. It had been
Yeah.
done with multiple different families that lived
Yeah.
in this house.
Generation, right?
Yeah, generations
Yeah.
that had lived in this house. Like, this one terrifies me.
Before the family moved in, Derek Broaddus was doing some painting and went to check the mail. There, he found the first of multiple missives from a sinister stalker called the Watcher. The letters truly feel movie worthy in how much they make your skin crawl. The first one welcomes the family to the neighborhood, claiming the Watcher's family had been watching this house for decades. However, the letters take a dark turn when it says, "Do you need to fill the house with the young blood I requested?" Dun,
No,
dun, dun.
no. And then, like, I don't know. The fact that they know, like, so much about what rooms the kids are in and just, like, I don't know, the letters got so creepy. Uncle Lisa said, "Oh, that case is so
Mhm.
weird and creepy." Linda Barker said, "I saw the Netflix show." Mhm. Oh, Linda, you weren't feeling better? I hope you
Oh,
feel better.
yeah.
Oh, you're still feeling rough? I hope you feel better, Linda. I didn't know you were not feeling well. Better for me. Was your old house too small for the growing family? Or was it greed to bring me your children? Once I know their names, I will call to them and draw them to me. Obviously, Derek and his wife, Maria, were terrified and contacted the authorities. They put off moving into the house as more letters came, including one that said, Todd's right. Yep.
Yeah.
That's the answer right there. Pack that car and put the pedal to the floor.
I'm
Exactly.
out.
Tammy said, "Oh yeah, I remember this one. I had just gotten it out of my head. Thanks."
You're welcome.
Tummy bug, I think. Oh, well, I hope it gets better soon.
Oh, yeah, Linda. The house is crying from all the pain it is going through. You have changed it and made it so fancy. You are stealing its history. It cries for the past and what used to be in the time when I roamed its halls. The 1960s were a good time for 657 Boulevard when I ran from room to room, imagining the life with the rich occupants here. The house was full of life and young blood. Then it got old, and so did my father.
This is so creepy. Hey, Sean, if you want to join, there is a link in the place that we're not allowed to talk about that'll bring you over and you can join the live chat over here. But he kept watching until the day he died. And now I watch and wait for the day when the young blood will be mine again. Several neighbors were questioned as the police suspected the watcher lived in close proximity to the house. But despite more letters and countless leads, the authorities and investigators hired by the Brodus family could never find the culprit. The family never moved into their dream home and weren't able to sell it after the media attention. They finally sold the house in 2019 at a steep loss. This isn't an old story.
No.
This is still currently happening. Like, that's the creepy part, is this has happened generation after generation and is still currently happening. I don't know.
That's just crazy.
I can't imagine
Like the new family, has to be going through this.
Do you think that the new family actually moved into the house, or they just bought it because of the legend around the house?
That's the possibility.
Because they could like make money off of it now that it has this huge legend. Netflix has made a story off of it, all this stuff. So now that they've bought it, they could probably just do tours of the house.
Oh yeah. That's, if I purchased it, that's what I would do.
Yeah.
I would not want to live in it.
Yeah, me too. Uncle Lisa said, right, but I think they invested so much money into the house that they couldn't afford to move out. Yes. I think that's what happened, is they couldn't even really afford to buy it when they bought it. It was like their dream home, and they spent every last penny they had to buy it. And then all that happened.
Mm.
And I think they even thought that it was a special neighbor at first. Like like a neighbor. There was a lady that had a son that was an adult, but he was special. Mm-hmm. And he would be found like in the dumb waiter of the house. Like he knew a bunch of facts about the house. They caught him in the dumb waiter of the house because he was very, very interested in the dumb waiter. I don't know why, if I remember the story correctly. And they beat him up at one point.
Oh.
Because he was in their house. And this could have been one of the other families too, but
yeah,
I remember something about that. But after much like looking into it, it turns out it wasn't him. He was just special and really had like
curiosity, I guess, towards the home.
Draw to the home, or like love the history of the home. They sometimes people that are special in that way have things that they very much attach to, and he had attached to the home.
Wow.
So I would have set it up as an Airbnb, Tommy said. That is a great idea. Yeah, for people that don't mind possibly dying from the watcher.
Yeah. Right. The Easters framed a PTA mom for drug possession after her benign comment about the son enraged them. Now, I thought this was mother and son, but this is husband and wife right here in the picture.
It does look like mother and son.
It does, right?
Yeah. Linda said, "You're mean, Tommy Travels." I wouldn't have stayed at Tommy Travels' Airbnb, that's for sure.
Yeah.
He and the waiter had something in common. Well, it's like the dumb waiter, the thing that goes like up and down. Yeah. Oh, never mind.
Now you get it.
I just thought what you said. Blonde moments. Okay. Is it your turn or mine?
Yeah, I can go. Okay. If you volunteer at your kid's school, there's bound to be some level of parent drama. But for PTA President Callie Peters, the drama escalated to parents planting drugs in her car. The conflict all started when Jill Easter was late to pick up her son from the elementary school in Irvine, California, back in 2010. The Easter son was separated from the other kids while they were lining up to go outside. Though Peters assured them it was a minor mix-up, Jill Easter fixated on the incident.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
This started Jill and her husband, Kent Easter, who were both lawyers at the time, down a path of harassing Peters. Their actions included emailing the school board to get Peters kicked out of her PTA position, handing out letters demanding her removal to parents in the parking lot, and even filling a restraining order out against Peters based on false claims of her stalking Jill. You know, they were lawyers. They knew how against
Yeah.
the law that was. Oh, but that's right. Lawyers are very corrupt sometimes.
Yeah. Peters was found faultless in all these efforts, so the Easters took it up a notch. The police got a random call that a parent was driving erratically and may be under the influence. The car described belonged to Peters. Police showed up and searched her whole vehicle, finding marijuana and prescription drugs.
You know why blonde jokes are one-liners? So brunettes might remember them. Oh, you didn't know what PTA was? Parent Teacher Association. That's right.
Sorry.
That's a whole American thing. However, Peter's response and her passing the sobriety test led police to wonder if she had been framed. And lo and behold, the Easter's DNA was all over the drugs. An investigation also discovered that Kent has placed the phony call to the police. The Easters were sentenced to modest sentences for their drug planting scheme, and Peters won a $5.7 million civil suit against them. $5.7 million? Holy cow. They're going to be pissed, though.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's insanity. Why all of that over a simple mix-up?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And it was a elementary school on top of that.
Elementary school mix-up. Jeez.
Yeah.
Jeez.
A custody battle led Christine Meter to unknowingly hire an undercover cop to kill her ex. Oops,
Oh my
wrong person.
Whoops. That's a mistake.
Yeah. In 2011, in Eastlake, Ohio, a suburb of Cleveland, a divorced couple was going through a brutal custody battle. David Meter was trying to get full custody of his 4 daughters from his ex-wife, Christine Meter. As Christine was complaining about her ex on Facebook, a high school friend, Patrick Sabo, jokingly commented that she should hire a hitman.
She's like, yeah, that sounds great. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Apparently, Christine took this to heart. She contacted Sabo, a former U.S. Army Ranger, and asked him to have dinner with her and her father, Al Zambore. At dinner, the father/daughter duo asked Sabo to find a hitman for them to hire, offering him $50,000. Rather than hunt down a killer, Sabo went to the police, who decided to set up a sting. They had undercover detective Christopher Bowerstock pose as a hitman who met with Sabo, Christine, and Zambore. The perimeters were set and the details were arranged. Dun, dun, dun.
The hitman met with the trio not long after with a digitally
manipulated
photo of David that showed him deceased. Christina and her father made the payment, seemingly satisfied with the results. They were arrested shortly after, and Christine ultimately received a prison sentence of 10 years, and Zambor received 9 years.
That's not very much for trying to kill somebody.
No.
Todd said, "Are hitmen in the yellow pages?" right?
Yeah.
How do you collect $5.7 million from people are lucky to have a few hundred? Well,
Mm.
Captain, they were both lawyers, so I'm sure they made like pretty decent incomes. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm sure that it was hard to collect because I know that I was given an award of money, not very much, but I was awarded money because of somebody's wrongdoing. And because the judge didn't say, "Oh, you have to pay this person by this date," like I had to take that person back to court to get them to give me my money. Like
So
it's
you had to
kind of
spend money to get money,
yeah,
right?
it's kind of ridiculous the way
Yeah.
that it works, honestly. And if like somebody doesn't want to pay, they can file bankruptcy and hide their money. So
Oh,
technically, I
yeah.
guess you can kind of get away with not paying, or bad people can get away with not paying. I don't know. Kind of stinks.
Yeah.
Home invasion devastates a small Connecticut town in 2007. I think you can find them under the red hat listing. Or you can find them in, was it Ohio, where the lady put the head in the bucket?
Oh, yeah.
Just go
Buckets
find
are
her.
us.
Buckets are us. Just look up Buckets are us. Hey, Chrissy Mama.
Oh, man. Cheshire is a type of sleepy suburb in Connecticut that doesn't often make national news. This changed when it came to the murders of the Petit family one July 2007 night. Jennifer Hawk Petit and her daughter, Michelle, 11, had gone to the grocery store. Unbeknownst to them, a man had been a man had seen them and followed them back to their home. He returned that night with another man. Isn't that scary? Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
That's why I don't like going out in public. People are scary.
Mhm.
Dr. William Petit Jr., Jennifer's husband, and Michaela's father was beaten and tied up, while Michaela and her 17-year-old sister, Haley, were also bound. Jennifer was forced to go to the bank the next day to withdraw money.
Eventually, after tormenting the family and assaulting Jennifer and one of the girls, the men killed Jennifer, doused the home in gasoline, and fled. Haley and Michelle succumbed to smoke in yeah,
Inhalation.
inhalation. Only William made it out alive. Cheshire had never forgotten about the heinous crime and organized a non-profit in the Petit's family name.
Sorry, my dogs are barking. I apologize for the TikTok.
Oh,
Sorry about that. There's no mute for me to protect your ears. I apologize. Uncle Lisa said that's horrible.
yeah.
It is. Captain remembers the head in the bucket one. I mean, that's who Hippie wanted as a girlfriend. So
Yeah,
it's kind of hard to forget
forget
that
that.
one. Unrequited love led to a 92-year-old woman to fire shots at her 53-year-old neighbor. What? Oh, this story is going to be good. I just feel
Yeah,
it.
this one's funny. In late 2010, when Dwight Bettner moved into his new home in Fort McCoy, Florida, he wasn't too threatened by his neighbor, a 92-year-old Helen Staldinger. He was he was friendly and helped take her garbage out a few times, just being a good neighbor. However, apparently Staudinger read much more into these acts of kindness.
Her name's even funny. In March of 2011, she went over to the 53-year-old's house and refused to leave until he gave her a kiss. Kiss me, you fool! He rejected her advances and she angrily left. Not long after, Bettner heard gunshots. Strawdinger was spraying bullets at his home and car with a 380 semi-automatic handgun. If his position in the house had been just a few feet different, Bettner would have been shot. I'm imagining a 92-year-old lady.
I know.
You didn't kiss me. Like, what in the hell is happening here? That
Yeah.
is insanity. Did she go to jail? Oh, what? What?
While Stongdinger had been charged, she likely won't face prison time due to her age. As for Bettner, he planned to move out. As the 53-year-old said, just don't need this stress or hassle. I thought this only happened to younger people.
Uncle Lisa said she did nothing wrong. He should have kissed her. Dementia does weird shit. She gives sweet little old ladies a bad name.
Well, she might have had like no teeth. We don't know the circumstance. Just saying, 92, I don't know.
That's a
What a-
whole new level of you didn't kiss me and I'm gonna throw a fit. Like that's a whole new level of petty. She's like, I'm 92. I get what I want now. If I
Right.
don't, I'm taking you out. A dog biting incident and ensuing lawsuit between neighbors turned deadly. Dun dun dun. Hey JT, if you're still in there.
A dog biting incident is no small issue, especially when it involves children. Hence, it seems understandable that when Troy Moore's daughters, aged 6 and 7, were bitten by his neighbor's dog in January of 2008, he would sue the owner for the girls' medical expenses.
Uncle Lisa, you're cracking me up. Surely there was a mistletoe somewhere that he missed. The judge, however, took the side of the owner, Roland Yance. This started a feud between the Yance and Moore families in Caldwell County, North Carolina, with the latter particularly upset to see the dog was often allowed to walk around the neighborhood by itself. Hey, Louise. Hello, hello.
The battle reached a tipping point in May of 2009 when a gunshot rang out in the night. Moore had shot Yance's dog after finding it on his porch, allegedly acting aggressively. Moore called the police to report the incident and waited on his porch.
I think I've seen this one on what's that show about the neighbors? There's a show about like deadliest neighbors or bad neighbors.
Yeah, it's like on the ID channel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it my turn?
Yeah.
This is when it got even messier. Yance, who heard the altercation, grabbed his shotgun, came over, and started shooting at the porch, hitting Moore and one of his daughters. When police arrived, Yance started firing at them and hit 2 officers. Police returned fire and shot Yance, who succumbed to his injuries. I mean, if you all are shooting at this point, like, it's time to move. Like, if you hate your neighbor enough, you're going to shoot them. It's time to move.
Darlie Roter was sentenced to death for killing her sons, but some believe she was wrongfully convicted.
She looks familiar. Depending on who you ask, Darlie and Darren Reuter were known either as the Ozzy and Sharon Osbourne of Rowlett, Texas, or as the local version of the Clampets from the Beverly Hillbillies.
Those are pretty different. Ozzy
Uh,
and the Clampets.
well, they're both kind of a little off.
Yeah. Darren owned a business that brought in good money, and he and his wife liked to show it off. But they also were known for caring about the community, such as cooking for sick neighbors and being the hangout house for the neighborhood kids.
I remember this one now. I
Hmm.
remember this one. She like throws a party or something at the grave.
Hmm.
All that changed on June 6, 1996, when the Reuters' two older sons, Devin 6 and Damien 5, were stabbed in the middle of the night. When Darlie heard one of the boys scream, she claimed she jumped up, saw an attacker, and followed him. She said at this point in the dark, she didn't even realize that she too had been stabbed and had her throat cut. Weren't they like rich? Like they weren't, but then the husband like made all kinds of money to be able to buy her anything she wanted.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Several reasons exist why Darlie was eventually found guilty of killing her sons. Her story of the attacker changed dramatically each time she told it to a different person. Her wounds were found to have been potentially self inflicted, as she gave herself bruises after being released from the hospital to try and back up her story of being attacked. On the 911 call, one of the first things she said was that she had picked up the knife, so the fingerprints are likely over the killers.
Yeah, see, that's not something you're going to be thinking
Yeah.
whenever you're like talking to 911 and your kids have been stabbed. You're not going to be thinking,
Hmm.
oh, I picked up. Maybe later down the road when you're talking to the cops and the cops are like, hey, did you touch the knife? Maybe then you'd be like, oh, yeah, I did, but it's not like the first thing you're going to be thinking of when you're
Yeah.
talking to 911, unless you're
You'd
trying to
be
cover.
concerned about your kids. You
Yeah,
should be anyway.
I don't even think I'd be able to get words out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Uncle Lisa, mistletoe is found in the area that BB lives. It is a parasitic plant that attaches itself to pine oak trees. Yeah, there's mistletoe all over the place around here. I would know if someone cut my throat,
Yeah.
right? Drugs and alcohol involved? No, I think that she was spoiled and tired of her life. I think that kids were getting in the way of her living the life that she wanted to live. When first responders asked her to attend to her bleeding children, Darlie instead only held a rag to her own neck. When told her sons had died, she had a flat response. She was seen spraying silly string on her son's grave a few weeks after the attack on what would have been his birthday. Now, see, I don't find this
Hmm.
that strange. Okay. I find like what they said was so strange here is that on her son's birthday, her and her family went to the cemetery and they
Hmm.
had balloons and like a little party at his gravesite and she was spraying
Yeah.
silly string and stuff. I don't find that strange because you would want to celebrate your child, right? So, and everybody's going to grieve in a different way. And maybe that's how she was grieving, was to celebrate him. You never know, right? So I
Yeah.
can't look at
Yeah.
that particular thing and see it as weird. Everybody else sees that weird or did see that weird, and I don't understand. My brain doesn't understand why that's weird. I see all the other stuff as weird, like she didn't hold the towel on her son when the 911 or when the ambulance people were asking her to.
Yeah.
She just held it to her own neck. What? Why, as a mom, why wouldn't you hold it to your kid? That I don't understand.
Yeah.
But the throwing a party at the
The
gravesite,
gravesite.
that part I struggle with because maybe that's just, I don't know, that
And I
like
know it was for them because it was a party, even though they were deceased, she was laughing and happy and spraying it, that I recall. And maybe that's the reason why they think it was kind of odd because she wasn't showing sad emotions, but she was celebrating,
Well,
his birthday.
they said that a big thing for them was that she liked the media attention.
Yeah, yeah.
So she always wanted to be famous and she always wanted to be like in front of a camera. And so that every time
Mhm.
she was in front of a camera, she was putting on a show. So the thing, I guess I would have found her being happy odd if the husband wasn't as happy as well. The
Yeah,
husband was happy as well. And to me, it seemed like they were just trying to celebrate their son versus be sad, in
right.
that moment.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I don't know. That's what it seemed like to me. But every interview of her, if you go and look at the story of her, every interview of her, she's happy. So I
Mhm.
think it was like just the combined thing that
Yeah.
made it weird. But the part that makes it, the silly string makes it weird for you. Yeah. But you got to think he was a little boy. So maybe they were just trying to make it, you know, I think one of the children survived, didn't they?
No, they both.
Well, wasn't there a
Yeah.
third child though?
There might have been a third
I think there was a third child. And
that
so
didn't get attacked, I don't think.
yeah, I think there was a newborn baby,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so maybe that's why, the silly string and the party, maybe they were trying to make it more like a celebration for the kid as well. I don't know.
Mhm.
I'm not
Yeah.
trying to make excuses for her. I just when heard that, like that for me was the bunch of thoughts that ran through my head with it.
Right.
Hello, Mildred. Hello, hello.
Hello.
Sounds like schizophrenia to me. She was very spoiled. She like had plastic surgery. They had pineapple parties, if anybody knows what I'm talking about when I say that. Um, they were known to be quite wild. So I think she might have been missing her old life with having 3 children. She had 2 older sons, but they were still toddlers,
Yeah, I
right?
think it was what, 6 and 5?
Yeah, they were
Something like
6 and
that for
5
the
that
yeah.
died. They weren't very
Yeah.
old.
Yeah. However, many people believe Darlie to be innocent. She didn't have any history of mental health issues or abuse, and it wasn't clear what motive she would have to kill her sons. And the wound to her neck that the prosecutors argued was self inflicted was 2 millimeters shy of her carotid artery, which would have been fatal. Perhaps the changes in her story was a product of shock and trauma.
That part I don't really believe.
Mm.
And I think the 2 millimeters shy of her carotid artery was probably pretty well planned out.
Yeah,
There's a lot of her story that I think she's
don't
guilty
agree with. Yeah.
100%. But I just with the cemetery thing I can kind of see.
Hmm.
Whatever the case, Darlie is still imprisoned in Texas for her crimes, currently on death row. She maintains her innocence, and Darren supports her claim. They have been appealing the case and trying to obtain DNA evidence that wasn't available in 1996.
She may get off since they're trying to push that, who
Yeah,
knows?
it'd be interesting to see how that
Hmm.
turns out.
The Circuitville letters led to the dismiss of several residents. Or is that demise?
Demise.
Demise. The rural suburb of Circleville, Ohio, is best known for the annual pumpkin show. So, quite a stir took place when the anonymous letters started arriving at people's home in 1977, detailing specific secrets and offering dire relations if the truth wasn't brought to light. The first letter came to Mary Gillespie, a school bus driver. It accused her of having an affair with the school superintendent, Gordon Massey.
Sorry, I had to make an announcement. All right. Trying to get the dogs to go upside or trying to get the dogs to go up to go outside. But if you could see him, he's standing here wanting to go out
Yeah.
that door. Anubis, go upstairs. Go on. They wanted to be down here so bad with me today, but they never behave on Sunday shows. They just don't.
Yeah.
All right. Did I skip one?
I think one just passed. Yeah. Okay.
This one right here. All right.
Yeah.
Miss Calypsy, stay away from Macy. Don't lie when questioned about meeting him. I've been observing your house, and I know you have children. This is another watcher. Until Lisa said, oh, more creepy letters. I've been observing your house, and I know you have children. This is no joke. Please take it serious. Similar letters were sent to newspapers and elected officials. Even signs appeared along Gillespie's bus route telling of her alleged adultery. This anonymous campaign was so disruptive to the Gillespies' lives that Mary's husband, Ron, called her one night saying he was going to take care of the letter writer. Oh.
I'll handle this.
I got this.
But shortly after receiving the call, Ron's truck went off the road in a fatal accident. Many townspeople believe he was killed in his pursuit of the writer. While Mary denied having an affair with Massey, they started seeing each other after Ron's death. And that's when Mary found an obscene sign about her daughter on her bus route. As she went to pull it out of the ground, she found a booby trap, a trap wire with a gun set to go off.
I'm sorry, but come on, Mary.
Yeah.
Come on. If you were already getting tormented about seeing Massey, having an affair with Massey, why would you choose
Massey
to date Massey?
Yeah.
If it's not Florida, it'll be Ohio. Well, Linda, he's only saying that because the girl with the head in the bucket. Todd said, damn PTA at it again. And the whole gun on the tripwire thing, that's insanity.
I know. That's just creepy. You know?
think that'd be enough to track it back, though, to who it would be?
Yeah.
My turn?
Yeah.
I'm having a hard time remembering tonight. Go ahead and laugh at me, Tommy. Is it my turn? The architecture's great. These are.
I want to get you a shirt. Is it my turn?
These are things I say on Sunday show all the time. This is where the story takes an even more unexpected turn. It turned out the gun had been sold to Mary's brother-in-law, Paul Fraser, who was going through a contentious divorce with Ron's sister, Karen Sue. Despite a lack of hard evidence, Paul was arrested and charged with the attempted murder of Mary. Oh my gosh, Paul. Paul, why do you hate her so much?
Yeah. The jury found him guilty, but while in prison, Paul received letters from the original writer gloating about successfully framing him and did other people around town. Paul believed his ex, Karen Sue, has set him up and gotten away with it. Dum dum dum.
Dun dun dun.
That was a twist.
She was trying to kill her own sister to set him up.
Crazy.
That's insanity. The feud between neighbors began with trivial arguments and escalated with a machete attack.
Off with your head.
Gonna chop your head off.
Yeah. When you live next door to someone for almost a decade, you probably know them fairly well. This wasn't the case for Marguerite Diaz, who lived next to Madeleine Monist in Toronto. Both mothers, they seemed to get along for a few years, but then something changed for Diaz. She started picking fight with Monist, taking photos of her home at night and calling Monist a pig.
Captain said, if you go to your family reunion to pick up women. Oh.
You might be a redneck. No.
Monist finally had enough after Diaz threw beer bottles into her backyard. Monist called the police, who arrested Diaz, although she was released that night. A few days later, Child Protective Services came to Diaz's home to take custody of her children. She blamed Monist for this, despite the agency stating that the information they received prompting the children's removal was not from Monist.
Feuding neighbors. Diaz snapped in June of 2003 when she went to Monist's house with a machete and proceeded to chop off her hands and slash her face. Monist had reattachment surgery, but it's not clear how much filling she will have in her hands, and Diaz received a prison sentence of 6.5 years for the attack. Isn't that crazy?
I'm sitting here literally shocked. She chopped the lady's hands off. She's like, bitch, you ain't gonna make no phone calls no more. What?
And slashed her face.
Okay, the slash the face, like, we all knew that was coming, right? Like, but she chopped her hands off.
Uncle Lisa, oh snap.
Yeah, she done snapped. That's for sure. Yikes. I mean, the slashing
Yeah.
of the face probably happened because they were like, not that that's not a big deal. That's a big deal. I mean, that's something that everybody's going to see all the time. Like every time you meet somebody, the first thing you do is look at their face. So that she's going to live with that for the rest of her life, along with her hands, probably not having feeling again. But like, what made her go, I'm going to go chop her hands off? Like, that's insanity.
Yeah.
This one really strikes home. Similar situation here with neighbor. We used to be friends. Your neighbor chopped your hands off? We had a neighbor when I was growing up as a kid that did not like us because she would get foster kids all the time. She would always get foster kids that were younger than her kids so she could hand down the stuff from her kids to the foster kids. She would
Yeah.
always buy her kids new things with the money and then give her foster kids her kids stuff. Well, she ended up getting an older foster kid at one point. And that older foster kid happened to be around my brother's age. And that older foster kid kept sneaking out and ended up in our backyard hanging out with my brother. And so that caused them to not like us. And it was like, what? And so they started doing petty stuff like leaving notes in our mailbox telling us not to get their driveway wet when we watered our grass. And like, it was ridiculous. Like it was so ridiculous. And luckily nothing escalated to like this type of thing where, there was full on fights.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they literally told us they were going to sue us over getting their driveway wet. And it was like, what? How do you not get the driveway wet when you water the grass? Like,
Yeah.
come on now. But we read this one, right? Or no?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The Pali class kidnapping led to California's 3 strikes law. 3 strikes.
On October 1st, 1993, 12-year-old Polly Class was enjoying a normal evening playing board games with a few friends in her bedroom in Petaluma, California. The normality was shattered when Richard Allen Davis broke into the home, tied the friends up, and kidnapped Polly. Even more heartbreaking is that he was questioned by police a few minutes after the kidnapping was reported. He had driven his car into a ditch while fleeing. The police, however, had yet learned of the kidnapping, so they let the jittery man go.
Davis revealed that Polly had been alive when the police were there, hidden away in the woods only yards from the car. He later killed the preteen and hid her remains. The kidnapping and murder caught the attention of the national news as well as the U.S. government. Polly's younger sisters were invited to the White House to talk to President Bill Clinton, where one uneasily asked a question: "Do you think I'm going to live to grow up?" Oh,
Wow, that's sad.
Tommy used to live there.
Oh. The crime, along with the publicity of Polly's sister's fear, pushed California legislators to pass the three strike law, which states that if any criminal convicted of two felonies is found guilty of a third felony, he or she automatically receives a sentence of 25 years to life in prison. Similar laws have been enacted in 20 plus other states.
I just don't understand why it's 3 strikes.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like if you commit the same crime twice, can we not just lock you away forever? Like if you did it once, okay, give you the whatever sentence. You come back for that same crime, you did the same thing again,
Hmm.
done. You're locked up forever. You're not getting out. I don't care what the crime is. Like if you didn't learn your lesson the first time. We used to go to the garage sales and auctions and stuff. Then one day he turned on me. Almost 6 years he's harassed me verbally. I finally had to have the authorities speak to him. That sucks, Captain.
Yeah, it does. Mm.
11-year-old Gerald Lee Underwood was collecting money on her paper route when she was kidnapped and killed. Oh,
Pocatello, Idaho was a safe enough town that Charlie Underwood's parents didn't have a problem with her getting a job delivering newspapers, despite only being 11 years old. She was very good at her job, even winning a trip to Yellowstone National Park for enrolling the most new subscribers.
Tommy, what is going on with your life? You've lived in some
Ah,
questionable areas, okay, sir? You were born where making a murderer took place. I'm worried for you. Uncle Lisa said having a neighbor like that must be terrible. Must be.
yeah.
No one could have known that the paper route would lead to a living nightmare for the Underwood family. James Edward Wood had recently moved to Pocatello and was eating dinner with his cousin in June of 1993 when Gerald Lee stopped by to collect money for their subscription. Shortly after she left, Wood said he was going to buy alcohol. Instead, he pushed Gerald Lee into a car and drove north of Idaho Falls, where he shot, killed, and dismembered her, then threw her remains into the river. Why?
Mm.
Why? He just saw her and was like, "This seems like a good idea. I should
Sick
do this."
people. Yeah. The tragedy and Wood's later trial rocked the close knit townspeople who had been holding mass vigils for Jerry's safe return. He pleaded guilty to the charges against him and received the death penalty, but succumbed to cardiac arrest in 2004 while still in prison. So he got off easy.
I just don't I don't understand. Like she didn't do anything. She just went and collected money and then left and then he was like, "I
Yeah.
think I'll go pick her up and dismember." Like I don't Why? What makes a person think that way?
Yeah.
My parents knew the lady he was in jail for to begin with. So the one that he was falsely in jail for, that he got all that money from the city for, is that the one? That guy's story is
Mm.
insane. The Making a Murderer story is insanity. Yes, Tommy said, yeah. Wow, that's crazy.
Wow. Yeah.
She wouldn't kiss him.
Yeah. Ugh. But that's
Those
just
are,
sick. For somebody to snap and do that, you know?
yeah, it doesn't
That's
make sense to like I am never going to understand. Like that's I think my true draw, like the reason I'm drawn to true crime is I want to try to see what draws them, what makes their mind lean that way, because mine is so completely the opposite. I could never. I look at somebody and I want to make them smile. I want to make their day better, right? So I could
yeah.
never do something like that. And so I think the reason I do true crime is because I want to see what leads them into that direction. But I don't think I'm ever going to understand it because my mind is just so completely different.
Yeah.
But it does not make sense to me at all how somebody could look at a child who's doing a paper route and be like, "Yeah, I think I'm going to go pick them up now and dismember them and kill them." I just don't
Right.
I don't get it. Hey, bridge burner.
Hey.
Said go Chiefs.
Yeah. Super Bowl time.
It is Super Bowl time. Who's watching the Super Bowl? Anybody going to watch it tonight? Not me, obviously.
Yeah.
I am not into the Super Bowl this year. Not even for the halftime show. I don't know. Just not my thing this year.
We normally try to watch the commercials, but you know, if we get caught up in what we're watching, then we'll miss it. So
Mm. Yeah,
I'll Tommy's watching.
we used to watch it for the commercials and the halftime show. We weren't really big into the actual football game itself, no matter what teams were playing.
Yeah.
But yeah, the last couple years we just really haven't been into it, except for when Eminem did
Yeah.
the halftime show. Then I was like, yeah, I'm
I
watching
gotta
this.
watch it. I watched it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Linda said, I'll turn it on. Uncle Lisa said, Super Bowl is weird. Bridgeburner said, we're all obsessed with true crime, whether you admit it or not. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think more and more people are starting to admit that they like true crime.
Mm-hmm.
Jeffrey Dahmer movie on Netflix. No way. I'll watch. Not me. I want to watch true crime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my
Well,
go-to at night. I always end up putting it on. I love, a lot of stuff that's on the ID channel. Yeah, I really get into that.
I
Or
fall asleep.
paranormal, that
Yeah, I
too.
fall asleep watching that stuff. Like that's my go-to fall asleep to. And that's
Yeah.
like probably makes me really messed up in the head, but I enjoy it. So it is what it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Um, Captain suggested a story that I think I'm going to do this week because it's perfect timing. It,
Yes, the Valentine.
yeah, I didn't even know that was a thing. So
Was it Valentine Murders? Is that what it said?
Valentine Day
Um,
Massacre.
Oh, yeah, yeah. That'll be
So
cool, baby.
I think I'm going to research that, and then Valentine Day Massacre will come out this week. So
Hmm.
yes, it's really calming to fall asleep to stuff like that. I fall asleep listening to scary stories being read by random people. I
Thank
know.
you.
That's what I fall asleep to. I don't know why. That or like
Yeah.
okay, I tried
Hmm.
to do the Storm podcast, like like where they'll play like a stormy night and it'll be a 12-hour thing where you can just listen to a storm all night long. No,
Oh,
that
wow.
doesn't work. I can't fall asleep to that. It's too calming. I need something with like screams and
Yeah.
ghosts. I don't know.
Oh,
I listen to podcasts every night to fall asleep. Yeah.
Yep.
We're all just a little messed up. It's okay.
Just a little.
You can get Silence of the Lambs free on YouTube.
Mm.
That's a crazy one too. All right. Well, thank you all for joining us here on Sunday Fun Day. I appreciate
Yeah.
it. And like I said, if you haven't checked out Nettie's newest video that she just put out, go check it out. Her link's in my description. You definitely want to see her latest video.
Yeah.
I got stuck in a rabbit hole of one of those like cold, but it takes place on Canada border and people try to sneak in Bandtime. Oh, that sounds fun.
Ooh.
You two ladies have almost snoring already. You're funny. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining
Mhm.
us. Wishing you all much kindness and much love.
And we're sending love your way. Good night.
Bye, everyone. Have a good Sunday.
Yeah.